What size do you need? How many do you need? What are the best brands? Who supplies what? If any of these questions are ones you have had, you will get the answers right here today. Today I'm talking about grinders for pipeline welders. And at the end, I'll share my tools list with you. If you want more videos like this one, make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the bell for notifications when I post new videos every Friday. If you are new, I'm Austin Ross. Here on my channel I talk about being a pipeline rig welder. Everything from how to start to tips on living the lifestyle. First, let's talk about who supplies what. Typically the welder supplies the grinder, but the company will supply the consumables, your grinding discs, wire brush, sanding pads, and things like that. Getting started, you might have to buy your own to practice with and carry to your first job and stuff like that, but most generally the company will supply the consumables. Once you get on your first job and start working, going from job to job, you should never ever have to supply your own grinding disc and wire wheels. As far as pipeline mainline goes and getting paid split check, they supply all that stuff. Contract jobs are a little bit different. Most contract jobs you're gonna have to supply everything: grinding discs, all your tools, all your gases, all your welding rods, all that stuff. But pipeline, general rule of thumb is they supply you with all your consumables, including grinding discs and wire wheels. The most used size of grinding discs is a 1/8, not the 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch is too thick for grinding the bead, but the 1/8 grinding discs, anywhere from 4 inch on up to 9 inch grinding discs is what we use out here on the pipeline, depending on size of pipe. But on average, about a 6 or 7 inch grinding wheel is what you're mostly going to use out here. Now, what size of grinders do we use or will you need out on the pipeline? Starting out, you can carry just one 4-inch grinder and a 7-inch grinder. Really, you could probably get away with just a 7-inch grinder. You can do a lot. You can do 2-inch with a 7-inch. You can grind 42-inch. You know, that will get you started. Now, once you get into it and get going, you're going to want to carry extra, or maybe carry a couple of 4-inch grinders, one that you keep like a zip disc on for testing or for cutting open a tight space and things like that, and then maybe an extra 7-inch, and you might even want to carry a 9-inch grinder. Some helpers prefer 9-inch grinder over 7-inch, and vice versa. Some of them would rather use a 7-inch over a 9-inch. Just depends on personal preference. Here in the union, you don't have to worry so much about carrying an extra grinder, because if yours goes down on the job, most contractors are supposed to have you another one. You have to trade your broken one in, most generally, and they'll give you a new one or a rebuilt one. They'll make sure you got a grinder to work with. I think the reason they do that is when you're working all these hours out here on the road, there's not really any time to go get your own supplies and stuff like that. They want you on the job, ready to work and weld all the time, so they just supply everything. That way, everything goes more fluently. There's no downtime. There's no welders taking off to go get tools and stuff like that. I mean, you're there at work, ready to rock and roll. Anything you need is there in the warehouse. Now, your non-union jobs is going to be a little bit different. Most of them, like I said, will supply the consumables, but not necessarily the grinders if yours goes down. So it's good to have an extra one if you're not in the union. Even being in the union, it's just a good idea to carry an extra grinder in case you're out on the right of way and your grinder goes down. Half the battle is being prepared. As far as what brand I use DeWalt, because they're fairly easy to get a hold of at a decent price, and they last a fairly good amount of time. I haven't really ventured out and tried anything else, so you tell me. If you are a welder, a rig welder, or a pipeline welder, what brand of grinders do you like? Please share with everyone in the comments. I'm always looking to try new things and find good products. But at the same time, I do find myself just going with what I know and have always used in the past. Whenever I'm in a pinch, I just buy what I know. I don't venture out and try nothing else. So let us know your suggestions in the comments. Okay, so I wanted to take this time and answer some commonly asked questions about grinders. Some questions I get are about grinder guards. Is it dangerous without them? Do you have to have them? What is the purpose of taking them off? Is it dangerous without them? As far as grinding pipe, if you mostly use a grinder on pipe, I personally don't think it's very dangerous without them. Now, it can be more dangerous without the guards if you don't know how to run the grinder properly. As far as grinding the bead. Now, when it comes to prepping the pipe, putting your landing on and cleaning up the bevel and stuff, again, if you know how to use it properly, the grinder guard shouldn't get in the way and shouldn't mess it up unless you're making a transition. But I do believe there's more of a chance of the guard getting in the way when it comes to prepping the pipe. Most jobs nowadays, they do require you to have a 180 guard, no modifications, anything like that. But it just depends on the inspector and the job and how strict they are in safety. But most generally nowadays, you do have to have a grinder guard. So I would practice running a grinder with the guard on it and the proper way to do it. On some jobs, inspectors will allow helpers to take the guard off when it comes to making a transition, because you have to run that grinder inside the pipe and stuff like that. So sometimes they've got more leniency to allow you to take them off, but that's mostly the reason of taking off the guard, is to transition a piece of pipe without the guard being in the way. Is the helper required to supply the grinder? No, the helper does not have to supply his own grinder. Like I mentioned earlier, the welder is responsible for supplying the grinder, as well with all the other tools on the truck. How to use a grinder and how to grind the bead. I haven't done a video on general practices of a grinder, like just very general on anything and everything, but I have made a video on how to grind the bead and how to prep pipe ends, and in those two videos that we'll link in the description, I do talk about some of the safer and better ways to run a grinder when it comes to prepping ends and grinding the bead. So go check those out if you haven't, or if you're interested. I hope that answers most of your questions. As I promised, I do have a tools list for you. It is the top link in the description. All you have to do is drop your name and email, and I'll email you the list, as well as sign you up for my newsletter to get other freebies, tips, and behind the scenes stories. Before you go, make sure to leave a comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a like and share it with a friend. Here's to another week of working hard. I hope you learn something every day. We'll see you next Friday. Thanks for watching.